Ciao, benvenuto al mio canale. È la fine della quinta settimana di mia esperienza con l'italiano. Questa settimana ho iniziato lezioni con la mia maestra sul Italki e va molto bene, in mia opinione. Mi sorpreso, mi sorpressato perché prima pensato che mi spagnolo will um, will come in mi conversazioni di italiano, però ma non è un problema questa ora. Con la mia maestra, nostra conversazione è una è mezzo esercizi di grammatica e mezzo conversazione e per esempio la ultima lezione tutto il tutto il tempo um, parliamo in una discussione non con esercizi di grammatica, però ovviamente necessito both, entrambi e ovviamente in una lezione molto più facile perché abbiamo un contesto, un soggetto, per esempio cose della casa, un tavolo, la cucina, e questo dà noi un soggetto per parlare circa de. Yeah. E, e, sì, per me è molto divertente e spero che vado a continuare a voglio continuare a prendere lezione 5 volte ogni settimana, almeno durante questo esperimento. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Did almost 4 minutes there, and yes. So this week I started my lessons on italki. I took 5 lessons this week. It's New Year's Day now. Well, it's almost over now. It's 11 something. So yeah, almost 11:30. So New Year's is almost over. And so I took 5 classes this week. It's been great. I get along well with my tutor. We've been doing a little bit of a mix of exercises and conversation, but really she's been doing a good job of mixing in conversation within the structure of the grammar and the vocabulary. For instance, maybe we're looking at vocab of the house, but then that leads to discussion of things in the house, things of interest, and conversation continues from there. And she's got, I'm trying as much as I can to just speak Italian the entire time in our lesson. And if I get stuck, I ask her, hey, how do I say this? And it's only that part. And when she tells me how, she's got a list of all of the words and phrases that I've been asking about. So I can go back and review them, which is helpful. And just trying to, build up my words, phrases, expressions, and grammatical constructions. And that seems to be going well. I'm quite pleased with it up to this point. And so I hope that it continues. One of the big surprises, especially the first lesson, and honestly, I thought could be a problem for quite a while, was, was my Spanish going to rear its ugly head and very often, but it really hasn't. Yeah, once in my little 4-minute monologue there, what did I say? I said some word in Spanish instead of the Italian, but in general, and it happened in in an hour lesson, it happens maybe 2 or 3 times at most. So that's a lot less frequent than I thought it was going to be. To be honest, going into it, I thought it was going to be like every other sentence, every other word, but that hasn't been the case so far. So, and then when I've been doing my Spanish lessons, because I'm still keeping up with that, Italian hasn't really popped up there either. So that lets me know that at least my level of Spanish at this point is sufficiently advanced that learning another kind of similar language is not going to disrupt that. So a lot of positive things this week. I really cranked out a lot of hours because it's been the week between Christmas and New Year's, and I didn't do anything, and work is shut down, so I was able to get a lot of hours in. And if you watch my language goal recap of 2022, you saw how many hours I did in Italian in December. And so yeah, been a very productive week. This is by far my most productive week, and I do not foresee replicating that until maybe this time next year. So let's go ahead and get going with the rest of the recap. So this is the week 5 of 12 for the sprint. I did Coffee Break Italian 7 out of 7 days. I have not missed a day of Coffee Break Italian since I've started this. I completed 20 lessons, totaling 9.5 hours. Still great. Love it. It's great resource. It's fun. It's an engaging show, podcast. The hosts are great. They've got good chemistry as well. And I'm in the second season now. And in the second season, they've introduced this. They've got 2 styles of episodes. So it's going to be 50 episodes total, 40 episodes of like grammar, phrases, real lessons, and then 10 episodes of this magazine style, which I've completed now, which is interesting because you learn vocabulary specifically because they cover one subject in the magazine, like a person, an event, or something having to do with Italian history. And so, still loving it. I'm probably going to I've already repeated some of the episodes in season 2, and I foresee more repetition in my future, just because it's one thing to be able to understand an idea, structure, whatever it is, grammar point. When you're studying it, it can be easy to understand what it is, but then to be able to use it and really ingrain that so that it comes out effortlessly, that's a whole nother ball game. And so obviously I need more practice with that. Next up is LINQ. I did at least one lesson in LINQ every day this week. Good news is I finished all of the 60 mini stories. My first run through, at least. I'm now planning on moving on to the short story series, starting with these 4 here. And so I'm going to start on that tomorrow. I have these are great because they essentially function similar to LINQ in that they have audiobooks on Audible. So you can download those, and I'm going to be taking the same approach where I'm going to listen once, read once, and then listen and read at the same time. And so looking forward to that and starting that. Really, like, this week was almost like a phase 1.5 because I started the italki lessons, but I was still finishing up LINQ. Now moving on to Assimil. I completed 6 out of 7 days. A couple of days this week, including today, I was just really busy with other things. Well, today I was busy with actually editing the YouTube videos and putting them up on YouTube because I had been putting that off. in an effort to do more Italian, but at some point I needed to spend some time on the YouTube stuff. So I did a lot of that today. Earlier this week, I had some other things to take care of. So all that to say, I missed one day of ASIMO, but I did 6 lessons plus a revision, 3.5 hours. Oh, and for Link, I did 6.3 hours this week. Then ASIMO, I did 3.6 hours basically, and I missed one day. Otherwise, yeah, that seems to be going well as well. Nothing really to say on that one. Then Italian Uncovered, I did 4 out of 7 days this week for a total of 3.3 hours. I'm enjoying it. I think the videos are great because the native speaker who's teaching and talking throughout those lessons and using sentences and phrases and words from the chapter that we read to further explain the grammar and how phrases are used, and you pick up good little tidbits and nuggets as you're going along. And then, yeah, I already talked about Italki. I did 5 lessons for 5 hours this week. It's been a good mix between exercises and discussions. One thing I wanted to point out was that, so when I first started doing lessons on Italki, I was taking Korean and Russian lessons, and man, at the end of 1 hour of Korean and Russian, I felt tired. Like my brain was melted because it was such an effort, and that has not been the case with Italian, which has made me quite happy. I was actually expecting that because that's what I experienced with Russian and Korean, but that so far has not been the case with Italian. I mean, obviously it is still exercise, and I'm trying to get used to a new language, and so it's certainly not like it is in my Spanish lessons, for instance, where that more or less is just normal conversation. I mean, it's a little step up, obviously, than me trying to talk in English or French, but it's pretty comfortable now. Just from time to time, I get stuck with this vocabulary or how to structure a phrase. But yes, and so, yep, that about does it for this week, and I will see you next week. Hope you guys have a good week. I lied. Actually, I'm back because I realized I forgot to give the absolute totals for this week in regards to hours. So 9.5 hours of Coffee Break Italian, 6.3 hours of Link, 3.6 hours of ASIMO, 3.3 hours of Italian Uncovered, 5 hours of Italki lessons, for a total of 27.75 hours of active studying just this week. So almost 28 hours of active studying. On top of that, I did 2.5 hours of passive watching, which was 2 episodes of the Netflix show that I'm watching and 1 podcast episode of Easy Italian. So with that now, I'm actually gone this time.